seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. I am here with owner and founder and dear friend, Mr. Robert Zohn of Value Electronics. Robert, how are you this afternoon?
Thank you, Brian. All is great. And thanks for inviting me back to the channel again today.
My absolute pleasure. Our last video, we discussed some LG C2 prices as well as just TV technology. Typically, we meet in the store, but I wanted to try to get you on here, which is so generous of you to come on Sundays, release some release price dates and schedule releases, a lot of the information that you have that you are free to share at a certain time, which is why this video will be airing Monday at 3 a.m. And Robert, what do you have for us today?
Well, at 3 a.m., we're Monday, I guess that's March 21st. Our website will be updated with all LG prices for the 2022 OLED models, with the exception of the Z2. We'll be putting those prices up on April 25th with shipping soon after. So we'll have all G2 prices in every screen size. We'll have all C2 prices in every screen size as well. And there are some surprises. For example, actually, and it was really actually leaked by LG a few hours earlier before the moratorium even ended, is that they're going to go ahead with a future lower price at the launch on the 77-inch G2, which will now be launching at the very aggressive price of $39.99, all in delivered nationwide.
Wow.
So that is very low for the step-up model, the Gallery Series G2, to be at $39.99. That's a very, very nice sign to see these prices getting so aggressive, especially at launch. So the future prices, where they will go down, so everybody needs to understand that, the discounts will be very minimal. So there's no big reason to wait anymore, because we're going to see very modest discounts in the future. So if you're interested in these TVs, you don't have to feel like you're paying a serious premium, because we're not. We're launching very reasonable prices.
Well, Robert, that's almost the same price as the A80J last year, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy how low it is.
This is their step up.
Yes.
And for those of you that aren't familiar, what we have this year is the G2 with the heatsink, which will be competing directly with the A90J Master Series from last year. I know the G1 was an upgrade from the C1 last year, Robert, but tell me a little bit about the upgrade we have this year in regards to the G2 versus even the last year's G1.
Well, much of what you said is the biggest part of the upgrade, in that they're adding a proprietary heatsink across the back of the panel, and they'll be regulating the temperature across the panel as well to cool it. And by cooling the panel, they're extending the life of it, reducing the threat of burn-in, and giving the processor the ability to drive the panel harder when and where needed. Not just all the time driving it harder, but as needed to reach certain specular highlights with full color volume. So the color volume is also greatly improved. So there's a lot of changes this year. The panel, LG Display, the sister company of LG Electronics, has a whole new panel this year. It's more energy efficient. It's naturally brighter without the heatsink, and it has much better color volume and much better color saturation. So this is another nice formidable upgrade for the OLED display panel module, as well as the processor, the new A9 Gen 5, the new processor. So this is a very big upgrade year, and to see the heatsink being added on the G2 is very nice. We also have an upgrade in audio performance. We have an upgrade in the tone mapping, the way they're doing the algorithms of tone mapping. We're going to have more focus on contrast and the deep blacks. That'll have much more detail of gradation steps, the very dark gradation steps. And you can see from your 55C2 what a very formidable upgrade this is when you put it up against your C1, which is certainly a world-class TV of not long ago. So anybody that owns a C1 can be very happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I had mentioned in a previous video that I had very little expectations for the C2. I thought it would just be a simple, a lot of the marketing, and we hear a lot of market speak, especially in the comments, processor, Evo panel, and I was shocked. I know the smaller sizes, the 42 and the 48, there are differences, but the panel that I have here, special thank you to you guys, very generous that I was able to bring the 55-inch home. And I've been testing it, and it's very vibrant, and it's a clear step up from what we had in terms of vibrancy. But the processor, Robert, it is adding a level of detail that isn't really available on the C1.
Yes. So what they did is, so we know that the signal and the panel itself is a 10-bit signal. So that means it has 1,096 steps of illumination. What they're doing now with this new processor is they're looking in each frame at each one of the 1,096 steps, and they're applying processing bit power to it, so that now you see more detail in the gradation and tonal range, in color and in luminance level, because they're doing color and luminance at each and every one of the 1,096 steps on every frame. This is a big upgrade in processing power. It has a lot more memory, and they're using that memory to really look at these images, these frames, to really reproduce them very, very accurately.
And it was very obvious. I mean, it was obvious.
Image, a lot more detail, and it looks more naturally dimensional, almost 3D looking.
Yeah, I mean, I was again not expecting much. I expected, especially because I think I'm so focused on the G2 and the heatsink. But I gamed on it last night. There is a nice upgrade to the gaming optimizer where you can access the settings, HGIG, all that stuff within the menu without jumping out. The detail you're seeing from this LG video, I know it's not perfect on the camera, but I've seen these demos on everything. And in our, in our presence in the store, your store, the ZX, I've seen it. This is some of the best demo footage I've seen. It reminds me very much of the A90 from last year. Yes. So the fact that it's the C2, and I know there's differences between the 42 and 48. We'll get into that in a second. But if you wanted to share some of the prices, Robert, I know that's what a lot of people are going to be focused on. So let's do that.
Okay. So starting with a 42-inch C2, they will be $13.99, all in delivered. Every price is delivered nationwide, $13.99.
And that'll be available when, Robert?
The week of April 25th. And then we go to the 48-inch C2, which is going to be 3 weeks earlier, March 28th, actually, the week of March 28th, at $14.99, $100 higher. Those panels, as you did say earlier, are different. They're not quite at the level of 55-inch and larger. They weren't able at that frame size, at that image size, to put in all the enhancements that they did. It will be brighter. It is brighter. We haven't seen them yet, but it's not going to be as bright, and it won't have the full color volume either when you push the panel hard.
Okay.
So it'll be a nice advancement over 2021, but not all the enhancements that we are going to see on 55, 65, 77, 83, and 97-inch.
Yeah. And the stand is actually different. I think the stand is
different. It's the feet instead of the small pedestal, sort of. Yes.
Yeah. I'm blown away by how light this TV is.
Yes.
I know it's made out of these, but I'll let you get back to the prices. So that's 42, which is going to be the last one out as far as the C series. Then we have 48, and then I'll let you continue with I know we have the prices already, but if you want to reiterate them, that'd be great.
So 42, $13.99, $14.99 for the 48-inch. 55-inch is $17.99. 65-inch is $24.99. 77-inch is $34.99. 83-inch is $54.99. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to discuss the 97-inch at this time. And LG is being very kind to us on all these allocations. You know, we've been the only dealer shipping for over a week now on 55, 65, and 77-inch C2s, and we've shipped many dozens nationwide. So
that's why I
have them.
And that's why I have to say thank you. I know we talk a lot in the comments about just, our friendship, our relationship, but as a very small channel, which I am one of the smallest channels, to be able to bring home a C2, even though you have such a small allocation, was such an amazing gesture, and I really, really appreciate both you, Wendy, and Leanne. It's just a real treat. You and I both really geek out over this. It's not a business thing. It really is a friendship, and I want to say thank you to you guys, not just from me, but from our community here, because for us to be able to enjoy a TV like this, even before it's fully reviewed, and have somebody who's really passionate, that you and I are watching it, it's just really important. I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. And just this one time, I usually only speak about the United States when we talk about these technologies, but just for this one time, I'm going to cover the whole country, the whole world. You're the only one with a 55-inch C2.
Oh yeah, that's and what's cool is I know between
speak for other atmosphere. I can't speak for the universe.
Yeah.
For the whole world that this whole globe that we live in.
Yeah,
the one and only 55-inch, other than a couple of select clients that may have received them.
Yeah, well, and I tell you, that's why my exuberance for it, though, I wish I was full of it, because seeing the 77-inch in store, and then bringing it home, I was like, well, I have the 83, and I had the A80 in the background. I was blown away out of the box this year. I know the C1 and the CX out of the box needed a lot of messing around with. The C9 was very vibrant out of the box. This one out of the box just leaps out of the box.
I know.
And all the eco stuff is off. You have to enable it. And also what I wanted to say, as I'm looking at it here, this is a good shot. That hexagon spider web thing that was always isn't present. So they've kind of fixed that Venetian blind, and I don't have any. This is the cleanest 55 I've ever seen. So this will be back at the store in a few weeks. But I am very, very grateful. So again, so 77, Robert. And for those that think that's expensive, I always have to reiterate that the C8 and the C7, they were like 15, 16,000.
That's right.
77 inches.
That's right.
So I'm pleased that 4K is kind of here to stay for now. I know we have the Z2 coming out, but I'll let you get back to it. We finished with the 83. The 83 is priced very, very competitively. It's also cheaper. My cat sees that. My cat will be up here. But the 83 inch is also priced. What do you think about these prices versus last year's C1?
Well, again, they're very aggressive. They're lower this year. So we're launching at very aggressive prices this year. And I'm so happy to see that. I don't know what will happen, for December of the next year around, the holiday time.
Yeah.
They seem to be the lowest. But I do know that for the next price drop will be very modest.
So you're seeing,
don't have to feel bad buying one now.
So that's kind of the price we're paying for this aggressive pricing, is we won't see that big drop. Now, I know the allocations last year were very minimal, and I know that you were, given a small amount here. Do you see that happening shortage-wise this year as well? Okay.
Yes, indeed. I'm sorry to report this, but supply is very constrained again. And LG and Sony are very nice in favoring us, so we get very good allocations. But even getting good allocations, there's only so many to get, and they are very tightly allocated.
And now, Robert, do you have any, before we get into the G1, I know around this time of year, it's a time where people really can purchase last year's panels at a little bit more of a discount. That hasn't dropped much either. But I know we did discuss that inventory is low. So do you have any advice for people that want to grab last year's, say, A80 or C1 or even the Sony panels? Should they act now, or what do you think?
Well, they are at their lowest prices. Nothing is going any lower. And believe it or not, some of the 2021 prices are going up next week. Not this week, coming week, but the following week.
Yeah.
Supply is so low. So everything is supply demand sort of driven in this business, as well as competition drives a little bit of it as well. But with the very small supply, there's no reason to make them any lower priced.
Yeah.
So there are good values on 2021 televisions, OLED and others. But with the combination of them not being very low and the new products right around the corner at very low prices, so an example of a C2 and 77-inch, and this would be the extreme example, is the difference of $28.99 for a C1 versus $34.99. That's the biggest spread. That's a pretty big spread. And
Yeah, of course.
there's certainly no shame in owning a 77-inch C1.
Yeah.
And they are at their final closeout prices.
I guess
So
the tough thing with that is I know the 83 is a big leap. So
yeah,
so if it was at that point where you can get an 83 for the price of a 77, but we're not seeing
yeah,
that gap closed because 83 is a mammoth size. It is a
yes.
big jump.
So the C1 83 is on final closeout $47.99. The successor model, the 2022 83-inch C2, is $54.99. So
Okay.
it's $700 higher.
Wow, that's not a huge. Okay, yeah. So
I
what
would
did it?
very respectfully, if you're going to spend $4,800,
Yeah,
$55,
yeah.
keep this TV for many, many years ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And me having the C1, again, nothing against the C1. I love my TV.
Yes.
It is, even as I'm looking at it, it just I mean, even when I change the presets from standard to, they don't drop off much. So I would say that the appreciable peak brightness is not only in one preset. And
Mhm.
even when we go into filmmaker mode, we all expected,
Yeah.
because me, you, and Shane went through it. I was waiting for it to drop down in brightness. It really
Yeah.
didn't. So
Well,
hopefully it's a
this
more
year,
tangible.
This year is the first time I've seen Filmmaker with a high dynamic range like that, with
Yeah.
big lumens. Also, as you very wisely said, and I'll ask you if this is still true, we don't see ABL anymore. We don't see the.
No, because we stopped
that
that.
image on. Yeah.
Well, on Stacy's demo, the horse
Yes.
one, me, you, and Shane,
Yes.
I don't know if it made it on camera where we were talking, but normally OLEDs will almost shut off at that. When we pause it,
Yeah.
it stayed there. So, I know there's a lot of fear of burn-in still, which I think is really unfounded. I have several OLEDs. I game on them really hard, so
Yeah.
I don't really see any problems. But I know that this 500 cycle, we're not going to speak too much on it because we're waiting for clarification. So Robert does have information on it. We do want full clarification from LG before we disclose that, Robert. So I won't ask you to speak on that right now.
Okay.
But I want the community to know that, what you have to say. I know we just need clarification before we put it up.
Thank
But
you.
I personally think it's an unfounded issue. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think if I'm just speaking from my own thoughts, I think it's a very efficient panel. They're pushing it because they can. And I think that the Evo panel this year is really showing itself. I think, but I'm not going to push you on that. We'll talk about it next week, and we'll get full clarification from your engineer friends over there at LG. So let's go into the G2 a little bit. Some of the prices that you have there, Robert.
Very good. So G2 again is launching very aggressively, and a surprise from LG today is that they in advance had leaked G2 prices in advance of the moratorium that they gave the dealers, and I have those prices right here. So the starting with the smallest, which is G2. I'm on the C2 page. Sorry about that. Of course, I'm reading it right from my website.
Yeah, what you guys got to check out, because the website is got the PDFs.
Yes, it does. And
the specifications. And Robert, and I'll put this on the screen as I did last week. The biggest question is stance. And on the A95K or X95K, you have pictures of the stands already.
That's right.
Same with the G2 this year has some great stand options, which can be sold separately, but you show that already. And as I tell everybody, there's a lot of Easter eggs that Robert puts in there. He does a lot of extra research. Yeah. So, I read the website. I don't actually go to the website. I kind of read it. So I do my research on a website, and it's my boy Roberts. So check out the website, especially tomorrow after all this releases.
Yes.
Go down to their website and really kind of click around. You'll find some amazing stuff on there.
Yeah. So just to get back to G2 prices, the 55-inch, we're going to do an order of size. That's the smallest 2022 gallery series, will be $21.99. The 65-inch will be $21.99 on the 55. 65-inch, $29.99. 77-inch reduced from $41.99 to $39.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 83-inch will be $64.99.
Of course, the one I want's the expensive one.
Yes. It'll be brighter this year. It'll have the built-in no-gap wall mount, The entire depth of the television is the same from the front to the back, top to bottom, left to right. And that is about 1 inch in depth. So it's a very nice, thin, solid looking, built-in, no gap wall mount that comes built in and of course included with the TV.
Yep.
Minimalist, modern, and may I please add, sexy when you put it up on the wall.
I tell you, it is sexy, but I'll tell you, the C2's bezel's gone.
Yes. Well,
so I don't know
the
how.
bezels, instead of 1/4 of an inch, they're now at 1/8 of an inch. That's another very nice feature. Thanks for bringing that up.
It's a big difference because having the A80 here and the C1 downstairs, it does in the back of the TV. So I can't wait to see the G1. But and Robert, I know that the wall gap isn't the people think it's the paper. That the importance of the wall gap is that thickness on the C2 and the Sony's just is all the way down the panel. So yes. I can't wait to see that. And we're going to see that next week and film it, aren't we, Robert?
That's right. If all goes as scheduled, we'll have the 77-inch G2 in bulk volume in our store and shipping nationwide by the end of this week. Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is Shane from Spare Change and I will get down there and we'll get that footage to you guys. And, before there's full reviews, we'll be able to give you our thoughts on a C1, which is, he has several C1s on display. So we'll see if it's an appreciable difference. You guys stay tuned. We'll have that for you next week or whenever Robert is able to share it. So Robert, what do you think of these prices?
I think they're great. I'm glad to see the advancement in technology, and I'm very happy to see the very aggressive, very compelling prices, along with the crazy, awesome image quality. So, it's always been that at launch, you always paid a pretty big premium, and I'm so glad to see these companies becoming more competitive and more even priced. It's just fairer, and it's the right thing to do. So very nice to see LG take the lead with advancing the technologies and coming up with very, very aggressive pricing on these very high-end luxury premium products.
No, I know I mentioned this last week, but I'll reiterate it again, was I really thought last year the G1 not having an 83 was a misstep.
Yes.
And we talked about it not having a heatsink. I love the panel. I do think it's got an appreciable brightness over the C1. I think it's gorgeous TV. But this year, it looks like a masterstroke because the A90 is being carried over, but there isn't a 77-inch A90. So now the G2 will be alone with a heatsink at 77 inches this year, going against the A80K, but it's really the A90's competitor. So I thought that was very brilliant, and to flood the market with the C series. Yes,
and the 77-inch class screen size is a very popular category.
It is now,
yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. So
it is now. So
they are very aggressive on the advancement of the technology and on the very, very low pricing on this.
But their competition, LG and Sony, it was really, I know we spoke about this off camera, but I'm seeing now is it isn't LED versus OLED anymore. It's not plasma versus LCD. It's OLED versus OLED.
Well said. Thank you.
I mean, it's getting to be now where there's camps. Now that we have a subsection of camps with the QD-OLED. And I'd love to get your thoughts a little bit more on the QD-OLED and what you think that means, because you've seen a million panels in your time, and since I've known you, I'm not sure I've seen you this excited.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, with all the due respect to the very big technology advancements in both the display technology and in the processing, this QD-OLED is a bigger step. It's amazing to see the picture quality that you can get when you combine quantum dot filtering, and filtering is not the exact technical term, but that's what's generating our colors, red, green, blue, from the blue OLED layer. When you see the picture quality of QD-OLED, which we've seen QD on LCDs, but we've never seen a QD-OLED. It is a match made in heaven. These two technologies love each other and really exploit each other's greatest value of pure black and now higher peak lumens with bigger color volume, better color saturation, better percent of the color gamuts of DCI-P3 and even 2020 if you care about BT 2020. This is an amazing advancement in technology, limited in screen size for the first model year of 55 and 65 inch, limited to 2 manufacturers, Samsung and Sony. And but I am proud of Samsung Display and Sony for having the courage to develop this technology. Sony is enhancing it further with their second generation of the XR processor. That's again more powerful than the XR processor we saw for 2021, is retuned completely to take advantage of every single extra new element of picture quality that only you can get from a quantum dot OLED, better color volume, better peak lumens, and several other factors. And they added a heatsink to it as well. So they're going to be brighter than the Samsung QD-OLEDs, and they'll have their processor, they'll have their outstanding audio system put into it with a center channel dedicated actuator as well this year. And then you can use all the actuators as your center channel speaker, or pair it up with an HTA9 for a real serious fun time. So, and
they're going to have Dolby Vision as well.
They will have Dolby Vision.
So they'll have Dolby Vision. And I have the HTA9, and I love the system, amazing. But I think having the second year, it seems like Sony really wants to hit home that center channel aspect of it.
That's right.
Which is excellent. Which is excellent. Now I know. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, some other upgrades are adding the center channel in the actuators, which is also in the A80K. They upgraded the audio system quite significantly and added a center channel. So you have left, right, center, and 2 subwoofers built into an A80K actuators where it uses the full OLED panel as your speaker.
So are you seeing with the A80K this year, I know we've talked a little bit about it, is that what you're seeing the main advantage is going to be? We have the upgraded processor and as well as mostly sound. Do you think there's going to be any difference?
We have LG Display's upgraded panel as well. So it's brighter.
Oh, yes, we are going to. Wow. So they have,
They have everything that a C2 has from LG Display in that upgraded panel. And it's a long list of things that are.
So we may see a more vibrant A80K then.
Oh, by a lot.
Oh,
and
wow.
they know how to drive that panel with that XR processor.
Yeah.
Gen 2, retuned exactly for the capabilities, and then they've also enhanced the audio system. They have
that'll be pleasant too, because I think we'll see the A80K in store. But if it's as much a difference between the C2 and the C1, I mean, that's going to be a great year. And again, I mentioned this being a purist and a hobbyist. If you're somebody who has an A80J or a C1 or a CX, these TVs are AH. They are amazing. We're splitting hairs here, but we're so focused on it, so I don't want anybody to feel like they've made a mistake purchasing those amazing panels.
These TVs are a lot more similar than they are different. And yes, we are nitpickers. So, take that, so to speak, what we say with enthusiasm. Doesn't mean it's a dramatic difference.
Yeah.
I'm just excited about even moderate things mean a lot to me because it's my hobby.
Yeah. And I'm going to focus. I'll do a tech therapy video following up, and maybe you and I will do one together, because we do talk about these little snippets of information from whether people get it early. Like right now, the biggest fear with the C2 is, oh my God, it's going to burn out. Or with the QNEDs or the QD-OLEDs, there's already been reports that it's not that bright. And I think we get so hung up on these numbers that we forget that it's the richness of the image that I'm hearing mostly. I think brightness, I got carried away with that with the LEDs. I really wanted 3000 nits. And the contrast ratio being so important, Robert, it's really the image quality. And I would like our people to just be more patient and not to get too scared about what's happening. You do have some information on a panel that I'm very fond of, that I think is an excellent value, that's actually very popular. You and I don't really talk about it much, but it's Sony's X80 series. This year, I know it's something I want you to speak about. I'm kind of pushing you to speak about it because it's a very nice thing. Please let me know the information you have on the X80K.
So the X80K is the 2022 successor from the very formidable 2021 X80J. It's been a big upgrade year as well, even for these moderate priced televisions. It's the X1 processor, but again, a new X1 retuned again. There's been a lot of upgrades to the panel and the processing. The processor now is very specially set up, the software and the processor, the firmware actually, to increase the contrast in the display, because the display has a bigger dynamic tonal range. So the processor was retuned to improve contrast and to improve tone mapping. I spent a lot of time on the X80K when I was invited to Sony's headquarters with meeting with the engineers and product management, and they were most proud of it. We will, starting 3 a.m. today, we will have the full line priced on our website, and we're starting to ship as well from 43-inch up to 75-inch. So you have 43, 50, 55, 65, and 75-inch. The 75-inch, they must have mismarked the price. That's the only thing wrong with it. It's $12.99. Wow. I feel like you're stealing it, but you don't need a mask and a gun.
Yeah.
You can just steal it for $12.99. That is crazy.
It is.
Really beautiful. And that's all in delivered nationwide.
What's the largest size they have this year, Robert?
It will be 75.
Oh, they're going to stop at 75 this year. Okay.
Yes.
Because the
X80K series, right.
Okay. Because they still have the 80s at 85, or are they not doing them this year at that size?
I think that was only on the X85. I don't know if that was on the X80. I'd have to double check myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a really nice and very affordable TV.
Well, I think you actually lose money with that panel.
We do. Can you believe it? To show you that I'm the lousiest business guy in the world. I like the TV and I recommend it. And every time you buy one, we take money out of our pocket and not throw it away. We subsidize it.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
I don't care. I want the world to enjoy good video quality at home.
Yeah.
This is entertainment in your house.
Yeah.
And I am very happy when someone buys the right moderately priced, because they're not all right.
No,
this one is.
What I like about the X80 is it really, you and I being the big size guys with TVs, I like that people can get that without breaking the bank at a 75-inch.
It is great. TV. We're doing a launch promotion that we're doing where we're delivering it nationwide with no shipping charge. But there is seriously a loss on every sale we take. I'm only doing that for 1 month, and then we'll add shipping, because I just want to do it because I want to.
Do you know when that sale is going to be, Robert? Or what month?
We're starting 3 a.m. today.
Okay, so that'll be today,
Monday,
and for the full month.
March 21st, it starts nationwide, free shipping, and this is a very, very nice TV at a very crazy price.
Excellent. Well, if you have one in the store, I'd love to shoot it.
Yes,
maybe when I see the G2,
I'll have them this week. I'll give you one.
Okay, so I'd love to shoot the G. We'll shoot the G2, but I'd love to cover that TV, because I think since we cover at your store, other than the Hisense short throws and the dual cell, it is very high end, but people don't really know that you have that spot for obviously value. You want to see people have the TVs, and to have those larger sizes especially is very important.
Yeah.
So
I want to mention that Sony has told me, I'm talking to engineering people, is that the X90K is much more like the X95J was. Yeah. It doesn't have the anti-glare filter, and it doesn't have the extra wide viewing, but the image quality performance. Well, the image quality performance is what we're talking about. It's brighter. It has more local dimming zones. It has better control. It has this upgraded new XR Gen 2 processor. This is a big upgrade for X90K.
But without the X wide, we should be better with our contrast ratio, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm not a fan personally of that technology, the X wide viewing angle.
Yeah, as is the X95K that everybody is very anxiously waiting for.
Wait. Yeah,
back to mini LED, back to the second gen XR processor, and as everybody probably knows, their well-respected backlight master drive. So X95K is a big deal this year. We won't see it until the end of April.
So the X90K, we're staying LED.
Yes.
I personally like the X90J. I had your X90J for quite a while, and a buddy of mine was so impressed with it, he just purchased it before I could even get it back to the store.
You see the new K series. It's a whole new TV.
Yeah. I mean, this is, to me personally, and the exciting is we're getting all kinds of advances in technology on all fronts. And quickly, I know we have the AK Z2. I know we can't talk about things like that, but that's something we're going to see in the store as well. So it's going to be a very fun year. Last year, as you mentioned, was a big year as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Last
know.
year was one of the biggest upgrade years we've seen in many, many years. I never expected 2 years back to back that we would see another major upgrade in technology advancements. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Please forgive me.
No. I think we thought this year was going to be not great because,
That's right.
like
That's
last
right.
year, kind of. I do remember, Robert, when they canceled the successor to the A9G. That would have been the A9. You actually broke that on my channel. So I really thought that maybe they'd chill this year because last year things were so shut down, but instead they advanced them again. You know, it's really, really great stuff that's coming. I do want to quickly touch before I let you go on some sound bars we're talking about that you guys are going to be seeing, and I'm going to find those on the website. But you're saying some big jumps in regards to sound bars.
Thank goodness. And it was led by Sony in 2021 with the HTA9 that sells far beyond capability. Their wonderful HTA7000 Dolby Atmos soundbar system, and even the HTA5000. Unbelievable advancements there. Well, LG is not sleeping, I can tell you that. The 2022 soundbars, which today, 3 a.m., go live on our website, they won't be available for a month, but they were designed specifically for the 2022 C2 and G2 series. They pair and match and love talking to each other. They have a lot of synergies in the way they operate together. These are high performance. One of the sound bars, the flagship model, is a 9.1.5.
Wow. 14
amplifiers, up-firing modules all over the place for Dolby Atmos. This is really a DTS:X and Dolby Atmos. This is really going to be a very big year for pairing up the same brands of audio systems, and there's a range of good, better, best, so to speak.
So the LG is doing the
DT. There's a real small 3.1.2.
Nice.
That's really cool for like $399, and it's
so this,
really, really good.
And this is LG.
LG.
So they're going to do the DTS.
Made them for the C2 and G2. This is what they're for, and Z2 as well. And these are high performance, again, moderately priced, advancing the technology significantly. This is going to be such an incredible package when you pair together the immersive audio with the immersive picture quality. People are going to have entertainment in their home better than a movie theater.
Now, Robert, when people purchase something like the C2, I know you guys will run certain deals where do you do some of that where people can buy, so just keep in mind, guys, when you call, ask about the other products. I spend way too much time talking about TVs and the sound equipment that I have, even from Robert and Wendy, is off the charts. But these sound bars, I mean, the HTA9, which I have here, I yelled at one of my kids because I thought they were knocking on something, and it was actually the movie. And they came downstairs, and I still heard the knocking. It was in Spider-Man. But again, getting you guys to experience the surround sound, I love that sound bars are getting to where it's just that one that play and go advantage is so amazing.
Yeah. And to just elaborate a little bit on what you said about package deals and things like that. First of all, the TV business is like a commodity business, and it's got very low margins. So make sure you get a good education and keep them out of TV retail. It's a lousy markup business. I do it for my passion. But anyway, the other, and we do well. I'm not complaining.
No, I know.
Yeah. But what I did want to say is about, if you tell us that you saw us on this channel or any of our other YouTube channel friends, we're going to extend the courtesy additional 5% towards the purchase of another LG or another accessory. So if you buy a G2 for $4,000, I owe you $200.
Oh, excellent.
Deliver it for free nationwide, and then you can take that $200 and apply it towards one of these really nice soundbar systems or an extended warranty or whatever, wireless headphones, whatever your interest is.
Yeah. Well, I love that it's very generous of you. Thank you so much. But I love that they're pairing together too. So it's
really
I know Samsung had done that too, but having them say like, okay, well, get the LG and they work well together. So Robert, before we go, I meant to say this very earlier in regards to the C2. I had run some of the tests that really struggled with my CX, those floating blacks. No problems coming out of black.
Yeah.
So I have no banding at all in any of my gaming. So it feels like the C2 is shipping as a complete product,
Yeah.
where I know the C1 and the CX needed some help, but
Yes.
really, really impressed with it. So
Well, that's one of the major upgrades this year is they focused on near black and coming out of black. That's fixed.
yeah, because
yeah.
even as I add this is a brutal demo
Yes.
here from Hisense
Mhm.
that it really is challenging, but there is no problems. And with my CX, I know that it had been updated quite a few times, the floating blacks and the crawling blacks. Mine had some issues, but there's nothing. I mean, it does remind me of a juiced up C9,
Yeah.
like let off the chain. And that's just without the heat sink. So I'm extremely excited for the G2. Thank you so much for sharing the prices with
Yes.
the C2 and G2. I know we'll be doing these kinds of videos more often. Also, check out the X80 news
Yes.
on the website. This video will be released Monday at 3 a.m. And please consider making your next AV purchase through my friend Robert, Wendy, and Leanne. Check out the website if you're just going to read. I mean, he puts a lot of work and passion into his business. Robert, thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it. And just thank you from all of us.
Thank you. It's a delight to be here with you. Thank you so much. And I love you and your channel and all your members. And just one thing that you know, since Hisense is up there, and I'm sorry to add one more little thing.
No, add as much as you need.
The only projector, we're talking about all projector types, ultra short throw, long throw, well, for now will be Dolby Vision capable and certified is Hisense.
That's the BX.
The L9G and the L5G.
Okay.
And it won't be available till October, November, but you can demonstrate it and see it in my store. Hisense was kind enough to give me the firmware upgrade. So our store demo is Dolby Vision. And we display the L9G in our showroom with streaming and Blu-ray discs in Dolby Vision HDR. There's never been a projector like that. And we're one of the 1 or 2 or 3 retailers that even have that software update early just for demonstration purposes.
Wow.
We're not selling it with that because it's not finally approved yet, but it 100% will be. And I can demonstrate it. So I'm going to show you that also, and maybe we can film some of it. You can see clearly the difference of Dolby Vision HDR.
And that's huge for projectors because Dolby Vision is kind of a no-no. Well, it is a huge no-no.
Yes.
And also to let you guys know, even though you see only demo material in my videos, it's simply due to copyright. At Robert's store, we do most of, and that's outside of what Dwayne Davis and Robert do with calibration. There are a ton of movies that we watch together, as well as the highest end Blu-ray player. So it's not a bunch of YouTube videos, all I'm allowed to show because of the platform. But just so you know, we do look at these panels and we do test them, at least even when Shane and I are there, it is with movies. And it's with 4K discs, not just YouTube. So I wanted you guys to know that. I just can't show you that. But I will be able to show you Dolby Vision off the Hisense with Stacy's disc.
That's correct. And we'll do that this week when you come back with the 77G2.
Excellent. Well, we're going to do 77G2. And you said you'll have the X80 for us to film too, probably there, right?
Yes.
Oh, very cool. So I'll bring you guys the X80. I'll show you that as well. But Robert, thanks for taking the time. I love these videos. I'd rather see you in person, but it's a Sunday and I know you're a busy, busy man. So again, thank you from myself and the community. And I love having you on.
Brian, I enjoy it sincerely every time I'm with you. Thank you so much for doing this interview.
My pleasure, Robert. I'll see you. Well, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All the best.
All right, my man. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.